I shall seize fate by the throat. It shall certainly never wholly overcome me. Let the show begin.
On an ordinary day in 1770, born Germany, from a family of musicians, Ludwig von Beethoven was brought to life, a life filled with hardship, yet a life to be remembered. Unfortunately, his drunkard of a father, Johann, saw his talented son as a profitable prodigy, no different from Mozart. He often came home with his musician friend wasted, rousing young Ludwig up to practice piano till sunrise, enacting violence as he deemed fit. Shortly before his 22nd birthday, Beethoven left his hometown to study with Haydn in Vienna, where he spent the rest of his life. Beethoven's first 7 hard-working years in Vienna brought him confidence and recognition, and most importantly, a developing sense of self-identity. He received ample praise and support from aristocrats in both Bonn and Vienna. People were dazzled by his piano virtuosity and moved by his improvisations with his early works full of energy, rhythmic drive, and full dynamic sound. When he reached 29, he started exhibiting strong symptoms of deafness. Doctors could do nothing to delay. For 2 years, I have avoided almost all social gatherings because it is impossible for me to say to people, I am deaf. Beethoven fell into despair and reclusion, but as any other genius, his devotion to music kept his mind in turmoil going. He famously wrote in an agonizing letter, I would have ended my life. It was only my art that held me back. It seemed to me impossible to leave the world until I had brought forth all that I felt within me. Beethoven moved on to express all his emotions in his music containing more power and heroism. He turned what was thought would lead to his failure as a musician into success and distinction. He sought solace in nature for his many personal disappointments, often seen walking through the countryside. He has derived many ideas from this, and as can be seen with his sixth symphony, the Pastoral. Beethoven himself, though, was still shrouded with mysteries despite countless descriptions. Said to be a man of contradictions, self-educated and read widely in Shakespeare and ancient classics, but weak at elementary arithmetic, claimed highest moral principles but often unscrupulous, dealing with publishers, orderly and methodically when composing but lived messily. His likes and dislikes, as can be seen, are sometimes clear, other not so much. Beethoven never served Viennese aristocrats, as he already earned a good income from selling his compositions to publishers. His stature was such that 3 nobles had to make special arrangements in annual income when he threatened to accept a position outside of Austria in 1809, a never-before-seen thing in music history. His passion for music is unmatched, even with the degradation of his piano playing and conducting. By 44, though he was forced to stop playing in public, he still insisted on conducting works after he could do it efficiently, often confusing players with his wild gestures. His isolation only grew with his deafness. A rumor of his retirement spread, but Beethoven only said to wait, and so worthwhile was that wait. After 1818, Beethoven had an uncontainable outburst of creativity, leading to some of his greatest works made out of total deafness before his death in 1827.
Beethoven composed a wide range of music, spanning different instruments in various forms. In this video, we will examine 4 select pieces. Firstly, Beethoven's Piano Sonata No. 8 in C minor, written in 1798, commonly known as Sonata Pathétique. The tragically passionate characters of his sonata mirrored Beethoven's impetus playing and masterful improvisation powers on the piano, being known for its dynamic contrasts, explosive accents, crashing chords, and its powerful and unique style that foreshadowed 19th century Romanticism. The first movement begins in C minor with an intense, slow introduction. The tragic mood presents a series of unresolved questions as the 6-note opening idea is repeated on higher and higher pitch levels. The tension of the introduction is maintained with dissonant pauses, surprise, and very rapidly changing dynamics as Beethoven alternates between tempos, incorporating fast broken chords and rising staccatos, bridging directly into a vastly contrasting second theme. The second movement in Adagio, cantabile, and A-flat major is slow, intimate, and song-like. It is in Rondo form, ABACA, coda. The main theme is one of Beethoven's most lyrical melodies. The last movement in C minor is another rondo, this time rapid and energetic. Section C is blissfully polyphonic, with imitation and ideas passed between hands. The second piece, Symphony No. 5 in C minor, written in 1808. The opening short-long motif permeates throughout the symphony. Fate knocking on the door, well actually more like fate knocking out the ears. 3 rapid notes and a held downward suspenseful leap. then hammered out with immense power by all the strings. A distinctive horn call motive announces a new calm legato melody, contrasting the preceding agitation. But the basic motive still lingers with cellos and double basses, reminding listeners of the underlying tension to create depth in the texture. Music theorists call this technique PTSD. The second movement, Andante con moto, is mostly relaxed and lyrical. It is an extended set of variations based on two themes. The main theme, A, is a long legato melody of great nobility. The second theme, B, begins gently with clarinets, but soon the full orchestra bursts in with startling contrast, triumphantly transforming the melody into the new key of C major, foreshadowing the finale. That brings us to the third movement, a rapid scherzo in C minor, with three sections. The scherzo opens with a mysterious broken chord in the low register, and out of nowhere, French horns! The short long motive is everywhere. The B section, with a feeling of energy and rough humor, is full of imitation in the sound of a fugue. When the scherzo returns, however, it uses its mysterious opening to carry the tension higher and higher with hesitant strings, until a sudden crescendo climaxes with the heroic opening of the finale. Hence, we arrive at the fourth movement in sonata form, climax of the whole symphony, victory of C major over C minor, of optimism and exaltation over struggle and uncertainty. Beethoven enlarged the orchestra for fuller tone and texture. The short long rhythmic motive is again ominously quoted, a sudden recollection of past anxiety, but it is then powerfully recapitulated with the renewal of victory. Beethoven's spectacular control of tension is an essential element of his genius, and probably a reflection of his own struggles with hearing. Pizzardi, we'll be looking at the fourth movement in Beethoven's String Quartet in C minor, Opus 18, in Rondo form, ABA, C, ABA. The piece is chiefly homophonic, with great contrast between the energetic main theme A in minor, and the lyrical legato theme B, and playful theme C, both in major keys. Lastly, the first movement of Beethoven's Violin Concerto in D major, Opus 61. It was Beethoven's only violin concerto, one of the earliest and most frequently performed violin concerti on such a grand scale, and considered to be one of his most lyrical work. The first movement, Allegro ma non troppo, is written in classic sonata form. One interesting element is the recurring five-note motive, starting with the timpani and then taken up by the violins on a dissonant D sharp. This forceful, terse idea, filled with dramatic pauses, often precedes the more lyrical themes in the movement.
Now on to the takeaway. First is excellence. It is undeniable that Beethoven is one of the most talented musicians of all time. At only 11, he served as an assistant to the court of Bonn's organist, and at 12, several piano compositions of his were already published. He was also recognized by other composers, such as Mozart, who reportedly said, "Keep your eyes on him, someday he will give the world something to talk about," when Beethoven improvised for him. As blessed with talent as he were, his excellence only came to be through refinement and hard work. Even when Haydn, who taught him, overlooked his errors in counterpoint exercises, he didn't let himself slip and went to another to have it marked. From him, I learned that excellence is a choice, not a gift, and as students of NUS High, we must always strive for the best.
As we all know, starting from the young age of 29, Beethoven's hearing deteriorated. As a man who devoted his life and soul to music, it was a terrible handicap. Beethoven's resilience is astounding. He suffered a tragedy, but that did not deprive him of the things he loved. He went on to compose without hearing, and even conduct without hearing. Personally, what struck me the most was not just his victory over despair, but his resilience that made it possible. His will to not cower upon the challenges as presented to him. Personally, it is easy for the ardent part of me deep within that always pushed me out of my comfort zone to get flooded away by the troubles of life. Only resilience will allow me to find success and meaning. I shall seize fate by the throat. It shall certainly never wholly overcome me.
Plaudite amici, commedia finita est.